Hello, hello, Women Thrive ladies. Welcome to today's live conversation and interview with one of our speakers for the Women Thrive Summit, which is our annual event. Today, we're talking about becoming whole, heal the girl, and empower the woman. And my lovely guest, who I am so excited to bring to today's live, is Dr. Meg Gibson. Hi, Meg. How are you?
I'm doing great this morning.
I am thrilled to have you today and have this conversation because I know it's going to be exciting. It's going to be interesting. We're really going to tap into the journey that we as women go through from being a young girl with big dreams and goals and missions, and then all the stuff that happens in the middle. And I guess, in your season of your life right now, you're really becoming that woman of wisdom who gone through the trenches, gone through an amazing career, and now you get to share that wisdom with others, and how to heal themselves to be their true authentic self. So I think this is a conversation for everyone, whether you're, in an earlier stage of your life or later stage in your life. I think this conversation is going to be quite interesting. So, what I want our audience to do is go ahead and leave a comment below and let us know where you're tuning in from, whether you're watching this on replay or live. And Dr. Meg, I want to introduce you, but I think it'll be much more authentic if you just introduce yourself and tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, I am originally from Miami, Florida. I tell people where I'm from because it's important to me. It tells a story of who I am in terms of my family. My parents are from the Bahamas, and I come from a family of five. I am the
Mm.
youngest of five, with the oldest being 81 years old, and I am 61. And once again, that's important in terms of letting people know where I fit in the structure of my family. I've had a very good um, career, 38 years of working, recently retired. My parents passed away very young for me. My mom passed away when she was 60, and my dad passed away when he was 68. I was 21 years old with my mom, and I was 26 with my dad. And that had a huge impact in my life.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of the things I went through in my life from graduating from college until now, um, I didn't experience the same experiences my older brothers and sisters had with my parents because of when they passed away. And so I often listen to them tell stories that I didn't have that same thing. Now,
Mm.
don't get me wrong. The love, the understanding, the support, the dedication of my parents was instilled deeply with me. And although they weren't there, my older brother and sister, they picked up the pieces.
Yeah.
And I am so thankful and so grateful for that. They became my rock, my foundation. So that's the beauty of having older brothers and sisters. They became my second sets of parents. So I'm grateful for that. And then there you have my career. And I'm fortunate to say that I've had three different careers in my time. And started out in the criminal justice system where I worked for 12 years in probation and parole services. I moved to Charlotte, North Carolina about 28 years ago, and I was in higher education for 17 years. And once I transitioned from there, I worked for local government. And I did that for 10 years. So a very assortment of areas that I worked in. And now I'm working in my own business. Last March, I retired, and I've always had my business since 2008. And it was mainly for life coaching.
Mhm.
And I did that for a long amount of time, life coaching and training. And I would pick up little contracts here and there while I stayed in my full time job. And what I realized about coaching is I cared too much. So when clients would come to me and they would pour their heart out on me, and it was like, oh my goodness, it just stuck to me. And I was like, okay, Meg, you can't do life coaching because I would actually take on their issues. So I
Yeah.
sort of backed away from that. But I found my sweet spot and I realized that I do care about people. I do want to be a big part of helping people come into their own. I wanted to help people understand the beauty of themselves right where they are. And helping them understanding that they are beautiful, they are wonderfully made, they are special. There is no one else like them. And that's where I found the name of my business, True Choices. It's about making the choice for yourself. It's about digging deep and understanding who you are and not allowing anyone else to define you by that. And that takes a lot of work, but it was work I was willing to put in for myself. And I carry myself in that way. And it meant me pulling back some onions, the skin of the onions. It made me have to sit in pain. I remember I was going through a really rough time. And I called my brother and sister and I said, look, I have hit the proverbial brick wall and I'm going to sit here. I'm not going to rush it. I'm not going to have a quick fix to it. I'm going to sit in this pain. And I said, it does not feel good, but I'm going to sit in it because that's the only way I'm going to learn.
Mm.
Were there quick fixes to it? Yes.
Yeah.
I could have pulled, say you have a pair of jeans on, and I could have pulled out of any one of those pockets a quick fix. I chose not to. I sat in that pain. And I sat in that pain for a long time.
Yeah.
But in sitting in it, I learned so much about myself. And coming out of that pain on the other side, I came out a different person. And the person I became out on the other side, I still question sometimes, only because it's like, wow, it was a lighter side of who I was. And it's like, wow, why did I carry all of that
Mm.
baggage?
Yeah.
What was the purpose of me doing that?
So, Meg, I want to ask you a little bit more about your choice for this talk. So we're coming up to Women Thrive Summit, and you've chosen the talk title "Becoming Whole: Heal the Girl, Empower the Women." So I want to hand over the mic to you to tell us a little bit more about that. And whilst you do that, I do have to go check on my daughter because she's incredibly crying. So
No problem.
I'll hand it over just to you just for a second to talk about
Okay. So becoming whole and in terms of healing the girl and becoming of the woman is about my journey of of understanding the pain that I experienced. The pain I experienced was sexual abuse as a child by a cousin that the memory of it I repressed in my mind for an extremely long time. The memory of that happening did not come to me until my 30s. And I remember lying in bed when the memory came back to me, and I was terrified. I had no understanding as to why um, I was having those thoughts. I didn't understand where they came from. And for a very long time, I I thought I was broken. Um, the irony of that memory was that with my job I had in Miami, I worked with sex offenders. I was fascinated with sex offenders. Like, why would I remember people asking me, how could you do that? I was intrigued by the people that I was managing, by the people that I was supervising. I was intrigued with them. They had to go to treatment programs, they had to go to counseling, and I had to verify that they were doing that. And I would go to counseling with them. And I would sit with them and listen to them in their counseling sessions, in their group programs. And I did it without any knowledge of what I went through when I was younger. And it was just an amazing experience for me. Just learning more about them, learning more about the various crimes that they had committed, visiting them in their homes, never any fear about any of that. Um, so when the memories came back, I was in a totally different position. So I had no understanding why these memories came back when they did. And I told no one for a very long time. I didn't know how to tell anyone. And it hurt because I had very vivid memories of it. I had my olfactory senses came into play. I could smell it. I saw things as they were then as a 6-year-old child. The imagery was there. And it hurt. I didn't know how to move from it. And all I could do was just all of the negative aspect of that impacted me, that I didn't know how to move forward and push from it. And like I said, I couldn't tell anyone about it because here I was, this very successful and professional woman. How could I dare tell anyone that? But it got to the point that I didn't have a problem telling anyone of the story of what took place. And I had to start with my family. So I told my big sister. It took about 2 hours to tell that story because I was crying so much. But I told her. And she asked if I wanted to tell my brother. And I said, no, I asked her to tell. I don't know if she did or not. And if my brother's listening, now you know. But I couldn't talk about it without crying. And the more I talked about it to anyone or tried to help people understand who I was and what my experience was, I would cry. Oh, I couldn't get the story out without crying. And it was like that for a long time because I did want to talk about it. And I needed to talk about it for myself. And then I found people were pushing me away because they didn't want to hear my story. But my story is a big part of who I am today. And so I remember the first day I told my story without being able to cry. I was in a classroom teaching a class on criminal profiling, and we were watching a documentary by Maya Angelou. And it was called The Evil Within. And it was based on finding the thing within ourselves that stops us from moving forward, and how we are supposed to be able to address the things within us that stop us from being our very best. And until we address those things, we are limiting who we are and what we have to accomplish. And my students watched the video. I had no idea what the lesson plan would be for that day after this video. And they watched it. And while I was watching it, I'm like, okay, what are we going to do in class when this film is over? And as I watched it, I thought about a lesson we could do. We were going to do a lesson on helping my students understand their evil within. So once it was over, the creative side of me kicked in, and I said, okay, let's do this lesson on understanding the evil within. And I framed it based on the documentary they just saw. Let's discuss the evil within. And they looked at me and they were like, well, what do you mean? Let's discuss what's that thing inside of you that stops you from being your very best. And it could be anything. And they were like, I don't understand. Can you give us an example? I knew what mine was, and it was that incident that occurred with me when I was a 6-year-old little girl. So with 25 students in that classroom, I told my story. And it was the first time I told my story without tears. And it was at that time I realized it didn't own me anymore. It was at that time I realized it wasn't my story anymore. I had the opportunity to break away from it. And it was the most liberating feeling I had. It wasn't about what happened to me. It was about how I was able to move from it. It taught me that I was stronger than I gave my credit for. It taught me that I was resilient, that I could overcome anything, that I could be anyone I wanted to be. It taught me that I was exactly who God intended me to be. And I couldn't allow anyone else to ever define me. That was a turning point for me. So to go from having this image of being sexually abused as a 6-year-old with imagery of bedspread stained, hiding in a closet, to the woman I am today, I am always, there are times I'm baffled that I am who I am today because I knew the pain that I went through when I was a child. And don't get me wrong, I had a wonderful childhood. I was loved beyond measure. I came from an extremely loving family, came from a protective family. And I am thankful that my childhood memories were not defined by that incident, that I did not recall any of that until I was an adult. Because if you ask me the best days of my life, I will tell you it was my childhood. It was my early childhood days. My birthday parties, being a brownie, being a Girl Scout, going on the television shows, singing on television shows. It was just awesome, except for that little pocket that took me into, I was telling Ray earlier, when I hit that proverbial brick wall that had surrounded me. And it was there that I decided to just sit with the pain. It was there when I decided I'm going to be okay until I figure this out.
Wow.
And I have been.
Yeah. And your story, I'm sorry to hear, the things that you've experienced. It's not an easy thing to go through and carry with you for the rest of your life. But what a courageous moment that was for you to discover the power of you owning that story and being able to share it no longer from a place of pain and the wound, but really now you're sharing it from the wisdom and you're allowing others to maybe face their truth and face their painful moments, which in essence will help them heal and empower the people that they are.
Right. I feel that we all have a story. That's the most important thing. We all have a story. It depends on where we start.
Mm,
And I know my story is not the only story out there.
yeah.
What I do know is that 1 in 4 women, those are low odds. 1 in 4 women experience sexual abuse as a child.
Wow.
Okay. 1 in 4 women have experienced sexual abuse as a child. And a lot of women hold on to that. Our responsibility, well, my responsibility is to tell my story, to help those women to understand that story does not define you.
Yeah. Yeah. When I saw your talk title, I was like, wow, um, it's powerful. But, there's, I know there's so much more to it. You want to help these women. How do you think we can help women? So when they join a summit and they sit in your talk, what do you want that moment to be for them? And how can we equip them with the tools or the confidence or strategies to move past after your talk?
Well, one of the things I like to do is this is my classic question: who are you? Think about it. Who are you? And I'm going to strip some things away from you when I ask this question. I'm going to take away the fact, and Ray, you could do this right now. I'm taking away the fact that you're a mother,
Mm.
you're a sister, and you're a friend. Can't give me those answers. Taking away the fact that you're a businesswoman. Okay? I'm taking away the fact of all of those labels that society gives you.
Yeah.
Now tell me, who are you?
Yeah.
If
Someone who
we begin
cares.
someone who cares then, but I want you to go deeper. I want you to search deep inside. What makes Ray who she is? What's the fire inside of you that has allowed you to create this platform?
Mm.
Because the fire inside of you that allowed you to create this platform is what defines you. It's much bigger than any title you've ever had.
Yeah.
And so, if I could help women begin to understand, strip away all of those titles, dig deep. What's the fire? What really defines you? You have that opportunity to work from there. That's the lesson I want you to come away with. It's not easy. Think of yourself as a product. That's really what it is. I want you to think of yourself like a product, because that's where the personal branding comes into play. That once you start to think of yourself as a product, then we begin to think, what are my qualities that I have to make me be in a position where I am now competing in the world to become the best product that I can be. One of the things I use is, say, Pepsi and Coca-Cola. It looks the same when poured in a glass. They compete against each other all the time. There are Pepsi drinkers and there are Coca-Cola drinkers. People like what they like. What's going to make you stand out? Choose your words carefully and make sure that when you sell yourself, you are selling yourself the best way possible.
Mm, wow. Oof, Dr. Meg, I think your session is going to be deep, revealing, and really will help women peel their layers. And I know that when people join the summit, maybe they join it for one talk, but as they go through the entire experience of the summit, it's like the layers start to peel and uncover their true essence. Last year, you were attendee at the summit, and this year, you're a speaker. Tell me a little bit about the two experiences and why
Mm.
you chose to actually go on to become a speaker.
My last year, in March of 2025, I made a huge decision to walk away and retire from a situation at work that did not serve me well. And I was in the middle of that. And I don't know how Women Thrive Summit popped on my timeline. It did. And I joined. I probably joined the second day. And I was engaged from the minute it started, every single day. And every single woman in there touched my heart. It was almost as if God planted me there and said, sit here and listen and don't move. And that's exactly what I did. And I was telling Ray before we got on the live that it was almost like she noticed me. And I'm like, there were thousands of people on this. And she called me out. And I was like, I know there are other people on here. And it was almost like her spirit was connected to my spirit. And I was like, I don't know you. Can you stop calling my name? But she just stayed with me. It was like a pulling. But it was so telling because she was a woman that was drawn to my spirit. She fed my spirit. She gave me exactly what I needed. Every single woman that I heard on that summit fed into me. And it was an amazing experience. An amazing, it was a soul stirring experience for me. It was, there were no words by the time I got to the last day, that all I could do was cry. I was thankful. I was reassured. I was blessed because I knew that what I did to end my career and go into retirement was the best thing I could have ever done for me. And I was thankful. So as soon as the call for speakers went out, I knew I had to put in for it because I knew I had a story to tell and I knew my story could help someone. Because the stories that the women told me in 2025 helped me. And I knew my story in 2026 could help someone. And that's why I wanted to be here.
Wow. Oh my goodness. You were so right. Like, I was so connected with you. I could see, and I loved your presence on the calls. And I could see something was happening for you in the moments of, the speakers coming on. You were deeply connected. And for me, that's what it's all about. If we can just touch somebody's life in that meaningful and profound way, then we empowered someone, then we served a purpose. And here you are this year, going on the speaker journey and, going through your own growth process. And in the summit, you'll take the stage to empower somebody else. And I know your story is going to touch somebody's heart.
Yeah. It's a great 360
Yeah.
for me. I'm very thankful for you. Um, you're an amazing woman. I've told you this before. You're an amazing woman, and what you bring forth in Women Thrive. Um, I have told others about it in hopes that they will take advantage of this opportunity, even if it were not for speaking on the summit. The experience that you have given us throughout this journey is priceless. The relationships that we've formed, the opportunity that we've had with the various women, with you, with Abigail, with the other women on the summit, priceless. The concept of what you have put together in terms of making sure we build a community. I don't think we get that anywhere else. I've been other places. We don't get that. So it's good to be able to feel this.
Oh, I love it. And I love that you got the experience of both because, what you experience as a speaker is so much different than what you experience as an attendee. But the attendees get to experience the magic of what the speakers have been through with us and the whole journey and the connections and the community. And ultimately, for me, that's what it's about. Can we create a safe space for all of us to thrive? Can we create a safe space for connections, opportunities, growth? Um, and
There's
that's
my
what the speakers really bring to the table when it comes to the summit. Okay, we almost run out of time. Dr. Meg, how do people connect with you prior to the summit?
They can connect with me on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. On Facebook, just look for Meg Gibson. On Instagram, you will look for Make True Choices. The name of my business is True Choices, but on Instagram, you're going to look for Make True Choices. And if you want to just email me directly, it is Dr. Meg at maketruechoices.com.
Amazing. Dr. Meg, I'm excited for your talk. It is going to be happening during the Women Thrive Summit between 16th and the 20th of March. So you got to go to womenthrivesummit.com, register for your free spots. There are free spots, there are paid opportunities to get a little bit extra bonuses and opportunities to connect with our speakers. And this is our annual Women Empowerment event. We are featuring nearly 50 amazing speakers this year, and Dr. Meg is going to be one of them. You got to be there, experience the magic of it, the opportunities and networking. I really hope that this is going to empower, inspire you. And just today, what you've heard from Dr. Meg, her story, her courageousness to share her story of the things that she's been through. I hope that it will inspire and empower somebody else. So do make sure you share this live with somebody else who may need to hear this. And be there the third week of March to experience the whole magic. Dr. Meg, thank you so much for being here today. It was a true pleasure.
Thank you. I loved it. And thank you so much, Ray.
Thanks so much. And thank you for all of you tapping in today. I look forward to seeing you in another live. Take care for now. Bye bye.